if I traded it all, if I gave it all away for
Welcome back. I am so excited about bringing on my next guest because there's a lot of people out there who are inventors, lots of them, and they don't know what to do with it. My next guest is Bruce Lev, and he's representing RG Patent Consulting. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Carol.
Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, what you do.
Okay. Well, I graduated with a mechanical engineering degree back when and worked in the patent office for 10 years. I worked my way up to a primary patent examiner, and I was the guy who punches the patents and says, yes, you can have a patent. So I have all that experience on that side of the fence. And then I left the patent office, got my patent agent number, and went out on my own. And that's been about 10 years, and now I'm working with a company called RG Patent Consulting. The RG is for Rachel Gilboy. She's the founder and the owner, and I'm working with her firm as the lead patent agent, and we're looking for some more clients.
So, okay, does it matter what they're inventing?
Well, first of all, it has to be new and novel. So an invention isn't really an invention unless somebody else did not think of it beforehand. And
had it patented.
Right, which is part of the process. There's an intense search that goes on before and even during the prosecution process.
So let's talk about what a patent actually is. When should somebody do that?
Well, back in about 1790s when the Constitution was written, it's actually written in the Constitution that Congress would set up and promote the arts and sciences, and they created the Patent Office and the Patent Office system. So thanks to George Washington and Ben Franklin and all them. And they created a monopoly. It's the only monopoly allowed in the United States. And it's a patent. And over the years, it changed the length of time. Right now, it's at 20 years. It used to be like 17. So the Congress set up the Patent Office, and it's funded through fees that the applicants pay to have their application examined and then hopefully allowed as a patent.
Right. Now, do you do consultations with people?
Yes, absolutely. That's the first step.
Right. So they would call you and talk to you about what they have, and then what is the process? What's the next step after you find out that, you know what, you have something here that should be protected? Go ahead.
Right. Well, we would do a search and to see if, if it's been patented in the past or even just published, even if it's just a publication. And that's kind of hard because, the world's very big. There's paper files from 200 years ago or even 100 years ago. It could be anywhere in the world. So it's a very intense process of searching. And, there's different companies out there that'll charge a lot of money depending on how in-depth you want to go. But then when you actually decide, okay, this looks like it's new and novel, then there's a provisional application that you would secure a filing date as soon as possible on your idea, and it's a lower cost method of getting your invention protected. And a provisional application lasts just for 1 year. And during that 1 year is when you would go out and try to license to a company. And if you can get a licensing agreement, then maybe that company would help pay for the prosecution fees that are to come later. So say you don't get a licensing agreement, and at the end of the 1 year, which is what the provisional is good for, then inventors would pay themselves to go to the next process, which would be a non-provisional, and that's a utility application, and that's the one that gets examined at the patent office and eventually would become a patent.
All right. Now, your phone number for them to call is toll-free, 888-481-5122. Your website, and you made it very simple for everybody, is iwantapatent.com. And so this is something that you're going to remember, because if it's not you, maybe it's someone you know. Everyone knows that they have this little invention, right? There's always someone out there that has an invention or something that they're doing every day. And so this is something that we want you to write down the information. It's toll-free, 888-481-5122. He does free consultations. You said that you're also A+ rated with the BBB. You want to talk a little bit about yourself about that?
Right. Our company is registered with the BBB, and we have an A+ rating. And we are also patent agents, which means that we're registered with the patent office. So if we did anything nefarious, ran off with someone's idea, or just did something really bad, they can call the patent office and say, hey, this agent and that agent did something bad, and they can pull our patent agent number, and then we'd be out of business.
Their phone number, again, is toll-free, 888-481-5122. The website, it's easy to remember, iwantapatent.com. Okay, I want to know the difference between this, because we all see the television commercial, and we want to know what the difference is between going through who they may suggest as opposed to coming to someone like you.
Great question. Big difference. Some of these big companies, they'll offer other services. So they'll bring an inventor in and they'll say, hey, we'll help you develop your idea. We'll help you create a prototype. We'll help you get a licensing agreement. And they could do all that. Or if inventors are very proactive and they could do it themselves and do all the marketing themselves, they could skip all that and maybe save themselves a bunch of money and come directly to us. So then they're only paying for us to write, file, and prosecute the actual patent application, because in the end, that's what your company could be based on. Is one patent can make a whole company and could be worth millions of dollars.
Sure. Now, when somebody has an idea or a patent, is it just a widget? Are there tell them ideas of the things? I mean, can you also patent a name? I mean, what is it that they're patenting?
Okay, a name would be like a trademark. Mm-hmm. So there's patents, trademarks, and copyrights. Of course, like copyrights would be like written material or music. Mm-hmm. The trademarks, Arizona Cardinals, that's a trademark. Well, patents is usually like a mechanical, or it has utility, and it's novel. And it could be anything that usually inventions are when people are trying to solve a problem. So, maybe they're driving in their car and they're stuck in traffic, and they think, I have an idea, let's make a floating car on magnets.
A light bulb.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And so usually some of these great ideas are to solve a problem. And those are the ones actually that would also end up making a company a lot of money, because then we a great need for people to solve that problem. Mm-hmm. So that's something to keep in mind while you're in traffic.
Their phone number is also something to keep in mind, because it's when you have that idea, and how many people that you come across that'll say to you, gosh, I had that idea and I didn't do anything about it. And look, that person made all of that money on something I thought about a long time ago.
Yeah, and that's, I think, why the Patent Office about 15 years ago decided to create this provisional application process. Because before, it cost a lot of money to file at the Patent Office, and every time you have an idea, you don't want to have to spend thousands of dollars, and then you find out, oh, it's already been invented, and it doesn't get through. So the Patent Office developed this provisional application that's a lot cheaper. For only a couple of $100, you could file your idea and grab that date. So you have your provisional priority date.
How long does it usually last?
Well, the provisional is just for 1 year. Then you would file a non-provisional. That's a lot harder to get through. But if you do get a patent, these days it's for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
But what's really great about having that, would you call it a provisional patent, is that you have that time to actually perfect what you're trying to do. It gives you more time without anybody stealing it. Is that correct?
Right, and to see if it's marketable.
Right.
So you have a year that you're protected at a low cost, and then you try to get the licensing agreement, you try to see if it's marketable, and if the answers are no, okay, so you forget about that one, and maybe you have another idea. So some people have a couple of provisional applications because they're only hundreds of dollars. And then once you get to the non-provisional utility application, it could be thousands of dollars. But again, thousands, and at the end, it could be worth millions. So
it ends up being worth it,
it's
obviously.
It's a business expense.
Absolutely. But right now, it's something that you can, I think the first thing to do is to call, get the consultation, find out, do you have that something that just might turn into that real something that turned into something that everybody else needed, and you're protecting it.
And we do large, high-volume clients, and so if an owner of a company is out there listening and thinking, well, we have some new products and some new changes, improvements, and they're looking for some intellectual property counseling, that's us also. We'll take the big clients, and we'll also help them get their patents.
Here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to a break. When we come back, we want to talk further about some of the different things you can do for not only the individual, but also for those companies out there. Again, their phone number, toll-free, write it down. It's 888-481-5122. The website's easy to remember. It's iwantapatent.com. Hang on tight. We'll be back in just a minute. How'd you like?
if I traded it all.
Welcome
if I
back.
gave it all
We're
away
talking with
for
Bruce Lev, and he is representing RG Patent Consulting. And at the break, we were talking a little bit about your experience. So let's talk about what makes your company, the company you represent, so outstanding.
Well, there's a lot of patent law firms and companies that could help individuals file and prosecute their cases. But for us, especially I, have a lot of 10 years experience working in the patent office. So I used to be the other guy on the other side of the fence that used to hand out the patent. So I know everything that goes on behind the curtain and what you can and cannot say to examiners and, how to get things through. And so my 10 years experience is very uncommon.
Well, let's also talk about this. Why does somebody need to have someone like you do their applications? I mean, I don't even know if this is the case or not, but I'm going to assume probably, because most everything is now. Could they go? What would be the difference of them going online, let's say, and trying to do something like this on their own, as opposed to going through you?
Well, the most important part of a patent is the claims. That's what you claim is your invention. And it's very technical and it's very legalese. Every word matters. There's a big difference between comprising and consisting. And not many people would even know what these words would mean. So you need somebody like me who's been trained for years and years and have done thousands of sets of claims where, we could write your invention, what you claim, in a legal way that, for one, would avoid any other patent that's already been out there, but also would give you the most coverage. So when you have a patent, it's not just a piece of paper on the wall, but actually has some teeth.
Okay. You also said that you not only just help the individual out there who has their idea, their not more than an idea, it's their widget that they have, but also companies. I want to talk a little bit further about that.
Right. Well, companies sometimes they'll have in-house counsel, and they'll have their own little department with their couple of lawyers and maybe a patent agent, and they'll do it that way. Or maybe they can't afford to have full-time intellectual property counsel. And so that's where our company comes in, because we'll give big discounts to high-volume clients and, these larger companies that can just hire us on a per-application basis and, just help them that way.
When is the right time to call someone like you?
Well, when you're sure of your invention, you have a good idea, and maybe you did go on, say, Google and kind of search around, and you're not seeing it. And you're like, wow, this is so obvious, and it's so good, I really want to go through with this. And so you take it to the next level. You give us a call and say, I think I have something here. And then we'll walk you through the process from there and guide you. And hopefully in the end, you end up having a patent in your hands and you can have the option of starting a whole business.
How long does the process normally take?
Okay, great question, because most people don't understand this.
They want it right away.
Right. Well, the provisional gives you a year to market and see if it's going to work. Or you can go straight to the non-provisional, which is the utility, and that's the one that usually sits around for about 18 months or more until the examiner gets to it. And then they'll examine it, and they'll try to find whatever patents are out there or publications that are close, and they'll always throw something back. They'll say, well, maybe we don't see it exactly, but here are the things that are close. And what that means, they'll send us a report with their opinion, and then it's our job again to amend the application and change the wording a bit to make sure that we're not violating anybody else's patent. And then hopefully at that step, it goes through. And that could be at maybe 2 years at that point. But if we have to start fighting for more protection, it can go on a little bit longer. And then in some cases, there's a continuation. You can continue the case. And so it could take 2-3 years. But if you're lucky, you can get a patent within, say, 18 months. And, of course, if you pay more money to the patent office, they have an expedition fee of like $1,000 extra. And, you can get it through maybe within a year. But during that process, you have patent pending status, and that's worth a whole lot also, and you could still try to license your idea.
Now, again, their phone number is toll-free, 888-481-5122. And the website, it's easy to remember, iwantapatent.com. And again, this is something that you're going to want to write it down. And again, if I always tell everybody on this show, maybe it's you, maybe it's someone you know that always has that something that they're working on or whatever. You want to tell them about this because it's so easy. They've made it easy for you to at least take care of it for the first year to cover that. And I think that then you can go from there. Is that correct?
Right. So it's only a few $100s to get your idea on paper and filed and secure that filing date. That's the most important part. So you want to get in, if you have an idea and you think it's valid, give us a call. We'll get you started right away and at least get you that filing date and secure that.
Again, that number is toll-free, 888-481-5122. It's iwantapatent.com. And when somebody is working with you, the one thing I think that people are the most afraid of is getting ripped off, even by you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they don't want to tell you what they're doing, so they don't tell anyone. Don't you? Isn't that the norm that you find?
Right. Well, that's why we're registered patent agents. And again, if we do anything nefarious, they could just call the patent office and say, "Whoa, this guy, did something wrong," and they could pull our registration number, and then we're out of business. And even the BBB, that's another way, another recourse.
Right. Now, you were mentioning claims. And I want to know what that means. You say it so easily, but what's it mean?
Well, that's what you're claiming is what your improvement is. It's exactly the improvement. Like if I had a pen and it was anti-gravity to make it easy to write, well, then, okay, I'm claiming a pen with this mechanism for anti-gravity. So it's specific legal terms that
right.
If you go to court and fight years later over something, those words matter. And any of those little words make a big difference. So the claims is what actually you can go to court over. And it depends on who would win that battle who has the better claim writing.
So it's really all about the claim because there's many people that might take a pen and change it a bit to make it a better writing implement. But you're the one that knows how to do that because you said you had how many years of experience in this?
Well, 20 total, 10 on the patent office side, being an examiner, and now 10 on the outside. So not many people can say they have as much experience as I do.
On both sides.
On both sides of the fence.
Right. And again, that number is toll-free, 888-481-5122. It's iwantapatent.com. Before we go, one of the things I want to ask you, and I'm not even sure if you can answer this at the top of your head or not, but some of the kind of neat ideas can you mention any of them at all here on the air?
Well, how about one of the funniest ones I've ever seen? And this was going back as an examiner.
It's always fun to listen to some of this. That's why I brought it up.
Yeah, so I used to do fire escapes and ladders as one of the arts that I was handing out patents for, and I had a search. So one of the means for escaping a fire was the parachute hat. So you run up to the top of the building, you strap this thing on around your neck, mind you, and you jump. And a parachute will come out. Now, these days, if it doesn't have, if it's going to kill you, they're not going to give you the patent. But this was like 1902 or something, and, the rules were a little different. So I don't think,
Did that ever go through?
It did. It's a patent out there.
You know what's
Google
interesting?
it and find it.
There are so many different things, and what I love about the world that we live in, there's something for everyone, right?
Any improvement, anything that's annoying you in the world, and you think you have a way of overcoming it, that could be a patent.
What are some of your final words today to the people that are listening to the program that you want to get out there?
Well, believe in yourselves. Be an inventor. Be proactive. Go for it. Imagine, like John Lennon said, anything where, don't let fear or the unknown stand in your way. If you have an idea, give us a call. We'll start you off. You could always bail out after just a few $100s, and then you'd be surprised. Once you have something filed and then you start contacting these companies, you might have a hit, and then all of a sudden you have a whole career in your hands.
I think you said it best. I think you should not have any fear. If you've got an idea and you've been working on something, it's on the back of your head, the best thing to do is give them a call. You're going to find out whether or not you really do have something. It's a free consultation. Right?
Right.
They're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. You're also you are patented yourself. What do you say that? How did you say that? You can't lose by working with them.
Yeah, iwantapatent.com.
Okay, again, it's iwantapatent.com. I said to you that the one thing that I think that people worry about the most is somebody stealing their idea. You can't with them because they're protected by you working with someone like you.
Yeah, the quicker you get your filing date, that's when you're secure, and you're on the path to becoming a patented inventor.
Again, their phone number is toll free, 888-481-5122. They're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. They do free consultations. It's just a few $100 just to find out whether or not, A, you have something, and to protect yourself at least for that first year. And you never know. You could have that one thing that can make you millions, if not more. Again, their number toll free is 888-481-5122. It's easy to remember, iwantapatent.com.
If I could